Everyone's favorite white woman brand is back with some hellacious products. Ilia has released 3 ethereal baked face palettes with a longwear bronzer, highlighter, and blush. They're $58 each, and they're in 3 colorways: light, medium, and deep. Remember those cream bronzers and highlighters and the bronzers were just cream highlighters, and then the one for deep skin was just red? There's something about this brand that rubs me the wrong way. It's like this crunchy granola clean brand. Everything about this isn't for me. I wonder if they're weighted. I know that people have these in their hands already, so if you happen to be someone who has one in your hands right now, let me know what it's like. Is it weighty? I understand that we have to try to differentiate what we're doing so that we don't look like every other brand, and I think that choosing this distinct shape is, I don't know how I would store that. Not only that, it's like Ilia, so they're not going to release interesting colors in these palettes, and I don't even know if they have a formula like this already, so it's a new formula. Maybe they're test running it with this launch to see if it's something that they would like to make more of in the future. But for me, it's like an easy pass. Listen, I'll spend some money on a product, but you have to interest me. And what Ilia isn't doing is interesting me. They're just kind of like falling flat like they usually do. Actually, there's nothing new here. It's just Ilia being Ilia, which is boring. Glossier shocking us all by releasing 2 new fragrances added to the Glossier You line. We have Glossier You Rêve and we have Glossier You Do. You do? These are both $78. Glossier You Rêve, buttercream plum butter, toasted almond, iris sandalwood, ambrox, and ambret. And Glossier You Do has sweet violet, palo santo, frankincense, myrrh, ambret, and ambrox. These are already available. Beautiful bottles. I love both of them, even the white one, which isn't my usual thing. Sometimes white and fragrance feels a little suggestive. I really love the purple bottle. I don't think that's the scent I would like. I think You Do is going to be worth a sniff for me. Glossier You and like Juliette Has a Gun's Not a Perfume, that kind of like skin scent is really nothing to me. The only version of that I really have liked is Ellis Brooklyn's Salt, because I like the smell of like sea salt air, that kind of thing. And I think that Ellis Brooklyn did a really good job capturing it in that fragrance. It's one of those fragrances that I feel like you have to be really close to someone to smell, but I also feel like it lasts on me all day. Glossier You and Juliette Has a Gun's Not a Perfume never really did anything for me. Taking it and adding a little bit of a twist could entice me to maybe want to try it. And I also think that $78 price point for a fragrance is very fair. Fragrances can be so expensive. I think this is a smart release. I like how it feels thoughtful. Basically what's happened since Glossier moved into Sephora is exactly what I thought. We're getting more regular releases, but not too many, and everything feels really thoughtful so far. And I think that this is a very thoughtful extension. And also fragrance right now seems to be like the hot button thing that everyone's excited to talk about. To get into that game and get yourself into the conversation beyond one scent, I think it's just really smart of them. I think everyone wins with this release. If you are interested in Glossier You, or maybe you have been interested in Glossier You, this might push you to smell it and maybe buy one of the 3 scents. Or if you didn't like Glossier You, but you're a big fan of Glossier, there's now 2 more offerings to give a whiff. So I'm excited to smell these. I do think I would like You Do better. I like it's called You Do. It's DOUX, by the way. It's You Do, but I think we should call it Glossier You Do. Welcome. If you're new here, this is it. Ooh, the girls were shaking and buzzing in Palm Springs whenever this got sneak peeked. The new eyeshadows from e.l.f. Cosmetics, they're called the Finest Fleck Glitter Eyeshadows. These are already out. There are already videos on these. Came out in 6 shades. And the theory is that these are going to be dupes for the very popular Urban Decay Moondust eyeshadows. And it does seem like there is a shade for shade dupe. e.l.f. could have just made sparkly eyeshadows and maybe made some shades that Urban Decay doesn't offer. And that would have been more exciting to me. We've talked about dupes, and of course I want everyone who wants to have a piece of beauty to have it at the price point at which they can have that slice of beauty, for sure. Love that e.l.f. is releasing sparkly eyeshadows. I just wish it didn't feel so obvious as a dupe. I just don't like that e.l.f. is trying to be like this dupe brand. I'm sure it's very successful for them, but I actually watched Kelly Gooch's video recently about how high-end and luxury has been growing at a faster rate than drugstore products. I would go watch that video. I found that very fascinating. I have the Moondust eyeshadows, but even if I didn't, e.l.f. releases these. It's not the Moondust eyeshadows, but it's trying to be the Moondust eyeshadows. I don't think I would start there. And that's like, you know, assuming the price point at which I'm willing to pay for an eyeshadow, that's going to differ for everyone. But like, it makes me not want to try them because it's like, you're not offering me something that Urban Decay isn't. You're trying to offer me what Urban Decay is already offering me. It could have been the exact same thing in similar packaging, just without the like trying to dupe a brand. Like there could have been just eyeshadows that we don't see from the Moondust eyeshadows, which would then drive people who already have the Moondust eyeshadows to try the e.l.f. ones even more because now there are shades available that the Moondust shades are lacking. I'm gonna recommend Amanda Z's video on whether or not these are dupes, and she has some great swatch comparisons for you. I'll try to remember to link that down below. If you were interested in these and you wanted to know more, I think she's gonna be a great resource for you. I'm not gonna buy these. I'm glad that they exist. I'm glad that people are excited about it. I feel like the girls in Palm Springs were excited when these got released. I feel like the audience at large was excited. I know a couple people tagged me in these posts about these. I'm not excited about them. I'm not the entire makeup market. Oh my God, Lawless. Lawless is releasing the same thing they always release. A sleepy eyeshadow palette, some more of their lip gloss that everyone really loves. Yeah, the eyeshadow palette. Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, so yeah, no, no, Lawless. A lot of my friends seemingly like this brand. They love the Forget the Filler lip plumper, but my God, this isn't a good representation of how I usually do my makeup, by the way. Just keep that in mind if you're new here. I love boring makeup. I love nude eyeshadow, nude lip, nude blush. Love that. That's my favorite kind of thing. My favorite kind of look. I love it. Icona Pop, I love it. And yet, Lawless doing exactly what I should like in makeup and should be the exact thing I have my eyes peeled for. They're just so boring. They give, I don't want you at the table kind of vibes. That's the vibe they give. And I don't know if that's the vibe that they're going for, but Lawless, if you're watching, that's the vibe you give. I'm not gonna pay for your product. And I know that a lot of other people that feel excluded from what you do also aren't gonna buy your product, but you're doing well. The white women love your Forget the Filler lip plumper as they put it on their filler-filled lips. Gucci holiday. Holiday. Have you guys ever heard of Madonna? Gucci is releasing some stuff for the holidays. They're releasing a couple of shades of blush and I think a new lip gloss and an eyeshadow palette. Don't worry about the eyeshadow palette. I had the first palette de beauté de you from Gucci and it was good, but it wasn't good for that expensive. I loved the packaging though, and that's why I kept holding on to it, but I almost never used it. Not because it wasn't even good, just because it was like, I don't know, I just never felt compelled to use it. And so that's why it's no longer in my makeup collection, but I think Tiff took it from me. I don't know what happened to it. It's not my problem anymore. I also think their quads are so silly looking. The blushes, I will say there's like a soft peach one, and I think that if I were to invest in one of them, that would be the one I would get. If you recall, maybe you weren't here, but whenever the blushes were initially released, I bought one of the shades and I did a little cutesy review. I don't think it had its own standalone review. I think it was a review within another video, and I was just like, just so you know, this is how I feel about this. The blushes are so mid for the price that they cost. I'm absolutely willing to spend $50 on a blush if I think it feels unique and special. But I just don't think that these ones are worth it, even though they come in a cute little compact. I didn't find them particularly like easy to work with, but they weren't hard to work with. Like, again, they were just like so right down the middle that there was just no point in paying $50 for them other than for the brand name. The highlighters though, they're really good, and I think they're worth the money outside of being under the name Gucci. Even though they are expensive, I felt like they were trying to innovate formula. These are just matte blushes. They're just matte blushes. I don't think you need them. The packaging is really cute. I like the red. I don't like red. I say I like the red. I don't like red packaging. I don't like gold packaging. You know what I really don't like? Red and gold packaging. It's so distinctly holiday. I know that you could use it anytime. So there's a soft peach, and I think there's like a red one. Anyway, I don't care about this. It's so funny that like, I feel like a lot of brands have my attention right now. I mean, it is the holiday season. This is the time where most makeup gets released. It is their time to really shine. And my usual go-tos, I feel like, have been really letting me down recently. I don't know. Gucci's been very hit or miss for me. Didn't like the foundation. Love the highlighters. Didn't like the blush. Love the bronzers. So, and like, I like the lipsticks I fall in the middle of, but everything else it's been more like hate or love. It's been very rarely down the middle for me and Gucci. I'll wait for the next release. This one isn't for me. Don't you tell anyone about what we're talking about. Don't you do that. Don't do that to me. Don't embarrass me. Hoodies, keep it in here. Don't tell anyone. But this Pat McGrath collection, whoop, I have to go shut the door. Do you want to say anything to the people, Gid?
Yeah.
Tata's gonna hold it.
Yeah, Tata.
You want to say anything to the people?
Yeah.
What do you have to say to them?
People.
You're saying people to the people? Wonderful. Yeah?
Tata.
Gideon.
Ah.
I'm back. Let me wet the palette before we get into this. Every Pat McGrath holiday collection looks like this. It's every single one. They've already done this red packaging. Can't you hire an artist to do different packaging for you? Why is all your packaging the same? I just simply don't understand. You are capable of so much more as a brand. I don't even know why you think that this would sell to people. This isn't going right down the middle. It's just doing what you've done literally again. Hell no. Don't buy this. Don't buy this. Don't make this your entry point into Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath has some lovely products. This isn't it. Not this. Don't do it. Bad. Ew. Yeah. No. You know, I was going to talk about the Dior holiday release, but it's actually so fucking boring that I don't want to talk about it, actually. Gissu's out here releasing some new stuff. Well, I guess it's just one shade for the holidays. It's the honey-infused hydrating lip oil, and this is in cherry. It's a sheer red cherry shimmer. No, Gissu's not going to get me. Gissu's not going to get to me. Get Gissu. It's not... Gissu me because I'm not by Gissu Guerlain. I think this is another collaboration. They just did one with Poochie, which I'm still not sure what Poochie is. Who's Poochie? Where's she poochin'? Poochie who? So I think it's Sharuk, and they're a jewelry designer. These are bedazzled, but they're so gaudy. Guerlain, like they want to give the vibe as a classy brand, but then they're like, but what if we bedazzled it? And I get it because they're collaborating with a jewelry designer. The quad is boring. You would think if they were going to put this much razzle dazzle on the outside of the quad, that the inside of the quad would maybe have some razzle dazzle. It's just red, pink, brown. They released a new nude lipstick that's a pretty color, but like nothing I would go out of my way to spend Guerlain prices on. Urban Decay is releasing You want some moon dust? Because we got it for you. So they released a quad at Sephora, and then the Star Shade palette that I was very interested in a couple Critical Sasses ago is out at Ulta now. And I think they might be in stores by the time this Critical Sass goes up, but you can at least buy them on the Ulta website, assuming they're not sold out. Just wanted to let you know about that. A quick little update. Very pretty. I will not be buying these. I just got into the Moon Dust eyeshadows, which I'm really grateful for. I did swatch the quad at Sephora. Before I left for Palm Springs, I was at Sephora and I was swatching it there. And that's when Haley, beautiful, wonderful Haley, came up to me and said, "Are you hautemess Tom?" And so we like had a little kiki and chatted about things. Haley helped me pick out some things, which I'm very grateful for. Yeah, it's very warm. It was pretty, but the quad wasn't quite right for me. I think that the star-shaped eyeshadow palette would be more my speed, but also I feel like I have the 3 shades I want of this formula, so I don't need to seek out an additional palette of it. If I bought the palette, I would try it for you and I would tell you about it, and then I would probably very rarely use it after that. When it comes to those like special shimmery shadows, I like them to be in their own individual compact. I will not be partaking. If you are looking at this palette and you're like, I like it, but not enough to buy it, then that's it. You don't need to buy it. It's not something special. If this isn't in your budget, you were looking for something similar, maybe you should buy those e.l.f. ones if you needed to buy something. But ultimately, if you're into this kind of shimmery shadow, there's gonna be something in your makeup collection already that's gonna satisfy it. You don't need this version of it. You already have it. And basically, if you already have it, you already bought it in the shades of this kind of thing that you would want. And like this would just add some extra things that you don't need. That's how I think about it. Suqqu released their holiday collection. It's uninspired. And I do think that Suqqu usually does something more interesting for the holiday season. But the 2 blushes they released, I do like the darker of the 2. I think it's like a pretty beige. A blue quad, a brown quad. Maybe this isn't their holiday release. Maybe this is just a bit of a shade extension. No, it's their winter collection. It's very uninspired. And I'm saying that as someone, even though I don't love Suqqu products, as we learned, I do normally think they have a very clear vision that is very enticing. I don't think they have it this year. Like, I'm very uninspired by this. It's like nice that maybe they're being more boring now that I've tried them. I've tried the forbidden fruit and it was unfruitful. And it's like, I don't need this now. And I know that. And there's nothing really that enticing about it. Our favorite brand is back with a shade extension of the Maximizing Lip Serum. It's from Isamaya. The Isamaya Liplaq 2.0. Where was the 1.0? I hate this about me. I really like the Liplaq. I still wouldn't want to pay $40 for it. They were kind enough to send it to me in PR. I am halfway done with my Liplaq. I love a sparkly lip. It's great. All 3 of these shades I find enticing in their own way. The formula isn't perfect though. I like the effect of it. I like the amount of shimmer. I like it when you first apply it. It does give me the white ring of death around my lips. I don't love that about it, but the effect is so gorgeous that I really put up with it. I'm gonna baby this lip look today because this formula, but it's just like, it's not a $40 formula, and that's what they're charging charging for it. I am now looking at it and I'm like, well, maybe I do want this. If I bought all three of these, it would be $120. Maybe they've gone up in price, but last I checked, they were $40. $120 on 3 lip oils that are just fine. They're plumping, but like not that plumping. For Isamaya, for being such an extreme brand, for their lip plumper to be maybe one of the most mild lip plumpers I've ever used, that's weird to me. Is that weird to you? I couldn't hear you. So I will lust after these. I will want after these. Perhaps somewhere down the line, I'll buy one of these, but it's not something I feel like I need to run to buy. I have one. I like the one I have. I can manipulate the one I have with lipsticks and other things to make it different colors, and I still get that intense shine from the shimmer. So it's like, I don't need this, you know? It's not something I need. And Isamaya's brand never has really followed the trends. I feel like if they do a big release, which they haven't done a big release in a while where it's like a whole collection, a whole set, they typically have done that in the summertime. I don't know what they're doing. They released those lashes last time we talked, and now they're releasing just a shade extension. However, I will say this, to their credit, I love whenever a product that is good and well liked in a line gets a shade extension. And I think that's exactly what they did. And I think that's good. That's net positive, because I like something I praise Victoria Beckham a lot for is like there's always being shades extended into the lines, popular products. And I love that. Like, just keep it. If you have something good going, keep expanding on it. Give us new colors of it. Love that. I just love that kind of thing. Merit, I feel like, also does that. They have some good products they extend on the line. I love that kind of thing. So Isamaya, I love this for you. I'm also just confused as like, is this it for the holiday season? I don't know. Okay, Natasha Denona is releasing the ROXA palette. It's in the midi size. It's $69, and it's a take on purple mauves. My wallet, safe. I don't dislike purple eyeshadow, but I don't like it enough to have a dedicated eyeshadow palette to it. Some people really are into purple. Purple people are purple people. They're so into purple. It's like that thing. I think there was like a meme about this. Someone said like people who are into purple, like they're into purple. It's different than people who are into like different colors. Purple people are purple people. So purple people might like this. But also, I'm a bit over Natasha Denona. I think that people have been complaining about her not releasing a colorful palette, and then she was like, here it is. It's like the Lila palette, but like, you know, a little bit different. The Lila palette, remove the cover from the Lila palette. The Lila palette wasn't really a purple palette. It was like kind of just like a warm taupey palette. I had it for a little bit, and then Tiff took it off my hands, and it was given to me by Majestic Beast Beauty. Sometimes Natasha's palettes don't have a lot of texture in them, and that palette didn't really have a ton of texture. And like, if I'm going to go with Natasha Denona's palettes as a whole, I need there to be some more intrigue than what that palette was providing. So like, I'm not buying from this brand anymore. While we're here, I do want to talk about something that I did acquire. I'm probably not going to use it on camera. I do have the I Need a Nude palette. Natasha Denona switched affiliate platforms, and instead of just paying me out from the old affiliate platform, they gave me a store credit, and I could buy a whole palette with my store credit. So this is what I bought. So if you ever see it in my drawers, just know that's where it came from. I didn't like really pay money for it, but I also, anyway, it's a whole thing. I do unfortunately really like the I Need a Nude palette. So you'll probably keep on seeing it in my drawers, even if I'm not using it on camera. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Also, just like purple, I don't know. Whenever you're like over a brand, you're like so over a brand and they can do no right. That's like me with almost every single brand we're talking about this video. Very specifically Natasha Denona though. Some of you are gonna really get your rocks off to this, and I'm so happy for you. Like, I'm so happy that this is gonna be a color story that really sings to you. I don't even like the outside packaging. And I like purple. I'm not a purple person, but I like purple. No! It's just another monochrome palette from Natasha Denona. It's like sneaky color pop. I didn't know what to do, so here's a monochrome palette. I feel that way about I Need a Nude, Golden, I Need a Warm, this palette. It's just like all a palette full of a take on one color. She's not doing it in an interesting way anymore. The one thing I love about the gold palette is that it was a take on gold that went beyond like, it's a bunch of gold shimmers and a bunch of nude eyeshadows. It's like, there's some weird green in it. There's a lot of weird texture in it. This is like a take on purple that is just, I only know what purple is. And this is purple. It's purple. Where's the hot take? Where's the deep dive into purple? Show me more of what purple can be. And this, my friends, is not it. I just think major brands are really struggling with color stories, while indie brands are out here putting out color stories. Buy from indie brands. Please buy from indie brands. You don't need to support mega corporations. You don't need to do that. Buy it from indie brands that buy from them. They are doing more interesting things. So I'm not super mad that major brands aren't really doing great color stories, but like, my God, you're not giving us anything. Oh, Phlur. Phlur, I'm talking about you again already. Phlur. Phlur. Phlur, you're just, oh my God, Phlur, you're just exhausting me. Phlur is not even worth standing for. Phlur is releasing the Sauce Spot Eau de Parfum. Was there a body mist of this? Oh, it's another fragrance. They release a fragrance like every day. Oh, it's not even out yet. So it comes out October 21st. Top notes, bergamot, peel, mandarin, freesia. Heart notes, jasmine petals, water lily, vanilla orchid. Base notes, amber, sandalwood, musk. I don't have to talk about Phlur. I'm making it sound like there's some mandatory mandate that I talk about Phlur. But I just keep my eye on Phlur because I think what Phlur is doing is the color pop of fragrance. Hear me out. You might be like, what could Tom possibly mean by that? And I'm going to tell you. They have a new fragrance release, whether it's a body mist, a deodorant, a spray, a fragrance, nearly every time we do Critical SASS, which is sometimes like once a month. But my thought is that I know that making fragrance is hard. I know that it's very difficult to do successfully. And Phlur keeps putting this out and they're priced at a point where it's not egregious. Like, it's not the cheapest fragrance, obviously. They're throwing out fragrances all the time, making people, I think, who are into the brand feel as though they need to buy every single release from them. And I think they put out more fragrances than they should. And people who are fans of them buy them. And they're spending, if they're releasing a new fragrance for $100 every month, those people are spending $1,200 a year on Phlur fragrances just because they're fans of Phlur. Now, Phlur is not responsible for the behaviors of their consumer, but it also feels thoughtless to me, like ColourPop feels thoughtless with the effort they put into their makeup. It doesn't feel like they're putting effort into it. I feel like the last 6 fragrances from Phlur have been some offshoot take of vanilla. And it's like, I understand that vanilla is a very popular fragrance, but it's like, I don't need 6 takes on vanilla. Why don't you make one very, very unique take on vanilla and like really take your time to put that together? But that's not what they're doing. That's not what they want to do. They want to put out as much fragrance as they can to get it in the hands of people so that they can make as much money as they can. And something tells me that if they are turning around fragrances this fast, there's not a lot of thought into them. And I'm guessing that the cost of the fragrance and the markup on it are significant. I don't know a lot about fragrance markup, but you know how like beauty markups are like crazy high. I would guess that Phlur has a very high profit of margin on their fragrances because I bet they're not using the best quality ingredients or anything like that. That's my guess. That's my guess. I'm guessing. I don't know that. I have no science to back that up. I've done no research, but I just feel like there's no care at the rate at which they are releasing fragrance. And I don't think that fragrance needs to be released at the rate of makeup. Obviously, makeup doesn't even have to be released at the rate of makeup, but it's just like, it's happening so fast and it's just like not even that different. It all comes in a tan bottle. I think they've also lost the thing that made them viral in the first place, which like Missing Person, what a catchy name. It was like an interesting color. It had like an interesting take. I think that their fragrances are very weak and not potent. And I like a very potent, full-bodied fragrance. The whole brand is just like not for me. And not that a brand has to be for me. I'm just saying it just feels pretty thoughtless. And so that's why we're sitting down, because they're not putting any effort into what they're doing. And I'm not going to put any effort into their Critical SASS segment. I don't know what you're looking at up here because I don't think we have still photos of this yet. Patrick Ta is releasing eyeshadow duos. Shit. I never thought I would have to say this on camera, so I'm going to say it off camera. I want a Patrick Ta product. I have a Patrick Ta product on my face today. I'm wearing the foundation. I like it. I didn't buy it though. And it wasn't sent to me in PR either. I got it from a friend, okay? I said last year when he released this thing that had the 4 eyeshadows next to the blushes, I said, if the 4 eyeshadows were a thing, if it was a quad, I probably would have bought it to try it last year. I listened and he released duos. Now, would I prefer them to be singles? Absolutely. However, they've been released as duos. There are 2 that I'm interested in. I don't know their names. I know that he's released a video where he's gone through the names and the whatever. The video that you're watching, unless still footage comes out, then I'll just pop up the ones I like. The one on the far right, I'm gonna buy. And then there's one that has like a pink shifty duochrome and like that has a silver white topper. I'll be buying them. And I know I like said I was on an eyeshadow no buy, but here's the thing. I have been so disinterested and disheartened by makeup for most of the year. I really haven't spent that much money on makeup and I don't have to. I am a YouTube channel and I think being able to speak on a formula of a thing that is in my wheelhouse, which is sparkly eyeshadows. I think this is going to be a good thing to touch down on. And I don't want what happened with some other single shadows that I have purchased or have not purchased that come and go and I never got my hands on. But I'm going to take the dip. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try these because I just think they make sense for me to be able to tell you about them. Anyway, I think this is a great release. I really think mixing it in the palette with the blushes was such a mistake. The shadows look so sparkly, and then the blushes, like, I think were more matte. And then if the sparkles got into the cream, which I know the creams have that flap top, it would like game over, like game over. And like, also I didn't want the blushes. I've never had one, but like that cream blush duo powder thing is just so not my thing. And so like, I don't want that. And he cut it out and he was like, I'm well aware that like Patrick Ta eyeshadows have a lot of problems with them. They get moldy, they get weird. I'm going to try it. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. I'm going to try it. Let me try a Patrick Ta eyeshadow. I never have. Makeup by Mario has released the Ethereal Eyes eyeshadow palette Moonlight edition. It's the same price. It's still $68, which is a lot. I'm not saying it's not a lot, but I was kind of expecting it to be above $70 this year. 12 universal neutral shades and 4 finishes to create the most versatile ethereal looks yet. The glossy shimmer finish is in a new pearl-infused formula that adorns eyelids with a reflective wet-looking shine. Who does that sound like? Who's that sound like? It's me. It's me. It's me. I need it. Put it on my face. Put it on my face. So it seems to be a more cool tone version of the Ethereal Eyes palette. If you're new here, I have the Ethereal Eyes palette. I love the Ethereal Eyes palette. I have been using the Ethereal Eyes palette, whether or not it's in stock, I'm using it on my channel because I love it. It's one eyeshadow palette that I have pretty heavy dent usage in it because I use it a lot. In fact, I actually use it for the mattes more than I even use it for the shimmers, but it's one of the eyeshadow palettes that I take on trips all the time. It's the one eyeshadow palette that I pull out if I like really don't know what I want to do with an eyeshadow. I'm pulling out the regular Ethereal Eyes palette. I love it. I've talked about it to death on my channel. So I have purchased this so I'll be able to speak on it because I think as someone who has used that first version all of the time, nonstop on camera, that I'll be able to give you a really, really good comparison of it. Like I have never lost interest in it. It's like always there. It's like Old Faithful, love her, always putting her on my eyes. For there to be a cool tone version of this palette to be released, hell yeah, sign me up. I'm more into cool tones than I am even into like straight down the line neutrals. I don't really care for like warm leaning eyeshadow very often. Like I'll do it, but it's not my favorite. So this is right up my alley. I love that there's a black. I love the grays that I'm seeing in here. I do feel like some of the shades on the left-hand side could pull a little warm, but they look a little more camel-y to me. I'm into the navy. A lot of people were like, a pop of blue, how funny. I don't think that was put there as a pop of color. It goes with the grays. And I think it goes with the grays. I think it works in this palette. It doesn't feel like some unnecessary pop of blue, in my opinion. I love the original palette. I'm excited to get my hands on it. I hope it doesn't disappoint. I want to see the color of those shimmers. Like, as I'm recording this, I think it's going to deliver tomorrow. I'll start doing looks with it to get my thoughts together, and I will do a dedicated review on this palette. I think it will probably be the video after the after SASS. Okay, just letting you know, get into it, just letting you know. I fear if the formula holds up, and I like the formula, that it will dethrone my original Ethereal Eyes palette because this color story is much more my speed. Oh, I have this, and I feel like some of you might want my take on it. I think I'm going to do a short form video that's just a review of it, but it's coming out soon. Merit's about to release the Retrospect L'Extrait de Parfum, and it is Merit's first perfume. It's inspired by old world techniques and vintage notes. This concentrated extrait melts into the skin for a pure scent that endures all day. Developed in Paris, it balances elements of old and new, as well as softness and depth. The bottle is inspired by modernist jewelry. The custom glass bottle is designed to sit comfortably in the palm of your hand. $92. Top notes: bergamot, pear, ambrette, aldehydes, heart, jasmine, rose, orris, rosemary, violet. The bottom notes: vanilla, musk, moss. Let me go get it. Here's the bottle. And they sent this in PR. I was really surprised. I got it and I was like, what the hell is this? I'm not going to do my usual fragrance review in this. I'll save that for the short form that I'll do of it. The first thing that happens whenever I smell this is I get a lot of powder. It's very powdery and I don't like powdery fragrances. And when I first opened it, I immediately put it on my skin because I was just like, I don't care what it smells like. I want to have it on my skin. I sprayed it on myself. And at first I was like, oh no. But once it sat on my skin for a bit, it started to smell like a very gorgeous cocktail. And I was like, oh yes. Okay. Kind of into it. The floral notes really hit me if I put too much of it on. But I feel like if I just put on a little bit of it, then I get at all of the top notes and then I kind of normally miss the middle notes. And then that vanilla musk really comes out whenever I'm warm. I walk on a treadmill when I work. Whenever I'm walking on the treadmill, if I have this on, that warm vanilla, and I'm not gonna say it's not a gourmand vanilla at all. It's like much more straightforward of a vanilla and it hits the nose just right. I'm like not a vanilla person usually, but it actually like, it's just really layered. And I think the brand describes it as like, you put it on and it feels like one thing and then you're wearing it for a bit. It feels like another thing. It's such a cozy, warm fragrance. I think they picked the perfect time to release it. The weather just started turning here in the Northeast where it's like now kind of just like 60 degrees every day. And this feels like a cozy, warm hug. I have been going out of my way to put it on every morning. I actually really like it. And I was, not that I thought Merit wouldn't do a fragrance well, I just wasn't expecting them to do a fragrance, but I think they made something very nice. I think a lot of people will be pleased with it, but it's not a gourmand scent. So if you're buying it for the vanilla, it's like, you're not gonna like it just for that. But I can't stop wearing it. It feels like a warm hug. Like I even have like a little bit of a dent going. The bottle is super gorgeous. I love it in my hands. It is kind of hard to open. So I have had to like turn it to then pull it off. Here, I'll show you. If you have dexterity issues, that's how I would get it off, but it's gorgeous. If you haven't smelled it, I can't wait for you to smell it. I can't wait for it to be in Sephora's for people to smell. I don't know. It feels just unique enough, but not too unapproachable. And I think they did a really good job with it. Anyway, that's my mini review of this. It's really good. I'm excited to have it. Surprised that I got one, actually, but I've been very into it. Been putting it on every morning. Love it. It has pretty good longevity. I would say it lasts about my work day. So I would say about I get 8 hours of wear with it. And at the end, it really smells good and you have to get really close to the skin. Oh, if I had a partner that wanted to get up on me, at the end of the day, they get so close, they'd be like, you smell good. But I don't have a partner, nor do I really want one. It's that time. The Sephora savings event is coming. It starts at the beginning of November for Rouge, and then it starts for VIBs on November 5th, and Insiders also on November 5th, and it goes until the 11th. I'm not going to make a whole dedicated video to the sale. Let's run through our checklist of reminders. Let's check in with ourselves. Is there something you've been waiting for the sale for? Great. That might be a great time to pick it up. If you are shopping the sale and something you never have wanted and never have thought about buying catches your eye for some reason, that is not the time to buy it just because it is on sale. You never wanted that product whenever it was at full price. It's not a thoughtful purchase. Make sure you're making thoughtful purchases. Make sure you're only buying things that you need to re-up on, like skincare and hair care, and getting a deal on it. That's great. Don't buy backups unless you are almost out of something and you are very close to being out of it. Buying a backup to sit in your closet for 6 months isn't saving you any money. There will be other sales that will happen between now and then that you could have bought it at. And also, if it's not that important to you that you have to wait to a sale to buy it, then maybe you don't like it as much as you think you do. There's going to be better sales on the brand's website, and oftentimes they offer free shipping. So instead of being someone who's just a beauty insider getting 10% off, everyone who shops, for example, on the Kaja website will get 20% off and free shipping. And that's going to be a better deal for you if you were interested in something for Kaja. So keep your eyes peeled. Utilize it as a tool. Don't utilize it as a reason to spend more money than you would have otherwise. Pretend everything is full price and that you are just, it's a little cutesy luxury that you are getting it on a discount. Some of you wait all year to buy all your makeup during this time. That's great. I love that for you. I'm not talking to you. You seem to be doing very well with your money. I'm talking to the people who are not as thoughtful sometimes. You just have to remember that this isn't a be-all end-all sale. It's not even the best sale that you could get a lot of these products at. There are some products that are sold at Sephora that don't go on sale very often, like Dyson. You don't often get a sale on, but they normally include the Dyson Airwrap stuff all in the sale. I feel like La Mer doesn't go on sale very often, but although sometimes I think it does at Bloomingdale's and stuff. That's the thing. Keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you're getting if you are deal hunting, then just make sure it is the best deal. It's a great time to buy fragrance. Fragrance very rarely goes on sale. So if you are into fragrance and you wanted to buy a fragrance, that might be a good time to buy a fragrance. Just make sure you are not needlessly spending just because you're excited because there's a discount. Because it's not the be all end all. It's not the last sale you'll ever encounter. The makeup will likely still be there. If it's a limited edition product, you don't get it. It's not the end of the world. There are a million other products that are going to do something very similar to that. That might be more cost effective, even off sale, or that might suit your needs even better. So it's not a time to get caught up in the hype. I'll try to remember to link some of my other Sephora VIB sales down below. Hannah Louise Poston has a great playlist of a bunch of resources on how she approaches the sale or what she thinks of the sale. There are resources out there for you to keep your head on straight during this time. But something I did last year that we might do again for this Sephora sale is like, what do you need to be talked out of? And we'll do that, I think, maybe for the Sephora sale. Keep your eyes peeled on my community tab, or if you're on Instagram, I'll also ask there. We'll ask in both places. The sale is not to spend all of your money on it because that's what Sephora wants you to do. And you don't need to do what Sephora wants you to do. They're a corporation. They're not your friend. I'm late to telling you this, but I think some of you still don't know. And hopefully all the shades are still in stock when I tell you this, but the hypnotizing pop shots from Sharla Till Bury are back. I think they're back on the website. They were app exclusive for a bit, but I think I was able to add one to cart from the website. So if you are interested in those, they are back. Just wanted to let you know. And I think that's going to actually end Critical SASS. Thank you so much for watching. If you happen to be new to the channel, thank you so much. If you haven't caught the vibe, Critical SASS is my new makeup release video where I try to keep my head balanced while I'm telling you about new makeup releases, tell you what I might buy for review, tell you what I might buy for me, tell you what I'm interested in and try to talk myself out of it. That's what we do in this video. That's what we did in this. The next video that I post is called the After SASS. And what I do is I take all the products I talked about in this video, look in my makeup collection, pull out things that are going to be similar, and I do as much as I can of a full face of makeup to try to scratch the itch of those new makeup releases. So I hope you'll stick around and subscribe so you see that video in your feed when it pops up. I have channel memberships and Patreon. You can find those linked down below. You can do one or the other. I do the same thing on both. It's the same video I do each month gets released to both of them. It's one additional video. If you're interested in that, feel free. If you're not, don't worry about it. But thank you to all my current members and patrons. You are the absolute best. I appreciate you so much. And thank you to anyone who's ever been a patron or member of mine. I really appreciate you too. In the pinned comment, I have a couple of links to help people in the world. The top link is going to be to help families in Gaza. That's going to be through Operation Olive Branch. In the next link will be a link to help people who were affected by Hurricane Helene in the North Carolina area. And then the last link will be to help people who survived Hurricane Milton down in Florida. If you have the means to help them, please help them before you decide to join my Patreon or channel memberships. If you can only do one of those things, I would prefer you to do one of those things. Hopefully this was a fun little reprieve for you. I feel like I've been doom spiraling recently, so if I could add any little brevity into your life, I hope I have. That's going to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your haute, and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. 'Tis out.